I'm Kara Hulak. I'm the editor-in-chief of Richmondside. If you're new to Richmondside, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary. We were founded to be a free, non-profit, independent source of professional journalism for Richmond. We also have a primary election voters guide on our site, so we encourage you to check that out. We've been covering all sorts of election stories for a couple months now. And if you like our work, please sign up for our free newsletter. Tonight we'll communicate in English and Spanish. We invite all monolingual Spanish speakers to pick up an interpretation headset. You can do that at the back table from Ladna and Noemi. Communicating equitably across languages requires capturing meaning, completeness, and cultural nuances. This is hard work and it's a collective effort. It's important we observe some basic principles to foster clear and equitable communication. We ask that when you are speaking to please speak at a moderate pace. Remember to pause. Do not speak over one another and speak directly into the mic. Thank you. This is our second year hosting Richmond candidate forums. Tonight is the second of 3. We held our mayoral forum on April 22nd, and next Thursday will be our last, May 13th at De Anza High School for the District 4. These events have all been co-hosted by 2 student journalism news publications, The Advocate of Contra Costa College and Richmond Confidential at UC Berkeley School of Journalism. And we thank them for all their work supporting these forums. This event and all the forums are being live streamed on YouTube and can be watched at richmondside.org now or anytime up until the election. So here's how tonight will work. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. Our moderator will then ask the candidate questions written by our journalist and submitted by some of you and some of our readers. Their responses are limited to 1 minute. Then we'll open up for questions from all of you. Just raise your hand and we'll bring you a mic. Or if you prefer, you see those cards I mentioned a few minutes ago, you can write your question down and a volunteer will pick it up and we'll ask it for you. And at the end, our candidates have the option of making a 1-minute final remark. I'd like to remind everyone to silence their phones, including our candidates. And I'd like to remind the candidates to refrain from using their phones during the forum. Are there any questions about the process? All good? All right, I'd like to welcome and introduce the candidates and our moderator. Please welcome Brandon Evans and Doria Robinson. And tonight's moderator is Annie Shaka, co-chair of the Contra Costa College Journalism and Communication Studies Department. I'll hand it over to Annie. Thank you.
Welcome. Before we begin, we ask all the candidates and the audience to respect each other's time and not to interrupt. We also ask that you follow the rules of civil discourse, keeping your tone non-confrontational and your language respectful. We'll start out this evening by allowing each candidate 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We will go in alphabetical order, so Brandon Evans, we'll start with you.
Well, good evening, District 3. My name is Brandon Evans. I'm a 4th generation Richmond resident. My family came to Richmond in the 1940s during the Great Migration to work in the Kaiser shipyards. I'm happy to say we've been here ever since. I come from a long legacy of public servants here, small business owners. My grandmother and aunts, of course, worked as Rosies here in the Kaiser shipyards. My maternal grandmother, Henrietta Smith, ran a small family child care for 50 years, recently retiring. I like to say that my first experience in public service started in the daycare, caring for children, most of the time the same age as me. But it taught me and showed me how you serve a community with love. I'm a proud product of West Contra Costa Unified School District. I graduated from Pinole Valley in 2008. Was lucky enough to attend San Francisco State to obtain my bachelor's degree in urban studies and city planning. I also have a master's degree in public leadership from the University of San Francisco. I've spent the better part of this last decade working in direct service here between nonprofits, the city of Richmond, and Contra Costa County. I've had the pleasure of serving as the district representative for Supervisor Federal Glover, first African-American man elected to the County Board of Supervisors, as well as his predecessor, Supervisor Chanel Scales Preston, the first African-American woman to serve Contra Costa County. So I served as a district representative in that office. Before that, I was actually a City of Richmond employee. I worked in our employment and training department and had the pleasure of serving as a workforce specialist. I was a part of a team that served over 1,000 young people here in this community a couple summers ago by providing them first-time job opportunities. Happy to be here with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Doria Robinson.
There we go. Good evening. My name is Doria Robinson. I'm a third-generation Richmond resident running for re-election. I was born in District 3. I raised my kids here, and I still live here today. Long before I was elected to City Council, I dedicated my life to serving Richmond. I bring over 20 years of experience creating jobs for local residents, developing programs that support our youth, and feeding over 400 families every week healthy, fresh food. During my first term, I helped to secure the historic $550 million Chevron settlement, invested in traffic safety, parks, flood prevention, small businesses, housing, supported filling police and fire vacancies to improve public safety. This record of success has helped me earn endorsements from over 60 elected officials, labor unions, political organizations, community leaders, including 3 of the 4 labor unions representing city staff. I believe leadership means showing up, listening, delivering results people can feel in their daily lives. I respectfully ask for your vote. Let's keep Richmond moving forward.
Thank you. Now let's jump into the questions. Please keep your responses to 1 minute and be sure to pay attention to the timekeeper in front of you. These questions will be directed at both candidates, but Ms. Robinson, we will start with you. Richmond entered into a 10-year, $550 million settlement with Chevron in 2024, then took 20 months to pick a consultant to hold community meetings about how to spend the money. Meanwhile, your district is home to a number of neighborhoods highly impacted by pollution from the refinery and other sources. If you could wave a wand and spend some of this money on 3 things to help your district, what would they be?
If I could wave a wand to make sure that this money gets spent well, I would wave a wand so that everybody can hear how important it is that we understand that this is a once-in-a-generation lifetime opportunity. That the $50 million we've already received is sitting in the bank raising more money. That there is a possibility that if we invested these funds at the end of 10 years, instead of having 0 money, we will have $550 million. And we could use the interest that we would be raising. Some have estimated $50,000 a month towards the kinds of things we need to see in our community. I think that that's the way we should be moving forward. I think that we should definitely do all the things that we need to do, but we need to do it in a smart way, in a way that creates long-term financial sustainability for the city.
Now, Mr. Evans.
Thank you. So if I had to wave a magic wand, my first wish would be to build capacity in our departments that take care of our quality of life issues. That's our streets department, that's our abatement department, and that's our parks department. My second wish would be direct payments to citizens. I myself was a benefactor of 18 money. If you grew up here in Richmond, lived through some of those early refinery explosions, when you turned 18, you had a check waiting for you because of being overburdened. So direct payments to citizens. We talk about representing the most burdened communities. Atchison Village is one of those fence line communities that has for 100 years been impacted. Thirdly, my third wish would be to use some of the funding to address our outstanding pension obligations, which are in the hundreds of millions. As with many cities in the state of California, pension obligation is our biggest liability. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Evans, we'll start with you. Remember, you have 60 seconds for this one.
Can I ask for the time? Can we have a 30-second check if you have that card, please? That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
While there were a record low number of homicides in Richmond last year, most of the murders that did happen were in the Iron Triangle, a portion of which is in District 3. Do you think the city's shift in focus from funding traditional police staffing to alternative public safety programs is making a difference? Is this the right approach? Why or why not?
Well, I think it's early to see if those alternatives to traditional policing models are paying off. Of course, one of those is ROC. That is a mobile crisis response team that just after almost 2 years in litigation was actually able to start providing services. We talk about just historical rates of gun violence in District 3. I myself came up during districts during the city's most violent period. I lost a generation of peers during the early 2000s. We lost a young woman by the name of Micaiah Brown last year, 21 years old, pregnant 2 months, and was murdered in the backseat of her vehicle. Her younger brother was driving, 17 years old, shot severely. When they got to Kaiser was on lockdown. We don't know if her life could have been saved if they were able to access our hospital. I'll say that we need both. This is not an either and. We need both. We need public safety, traditional public safety, and we need these new alternatives. Thank you.
Now, Ms. Robinson.
So I just want to press the point again that we had the lowest homicide rate in Richmond's history last year. So something is working. Something is working. And it's not enough. Like, we need to do more. We need to do everything we can do because lives are worth it. Even though 4 lives are worth it. 4 lives are worth doing more. I'm a big fan of continuing to double down on prevention because I don't want to see our young people put into the criminal justice system. I'd rather prevent it if we can, and if we can't prevent it, we need to stop those who are creating harm. And I feel like we should put our resources towards doing those things.
Thank you both. Ms. Robinson, name 3 things about yourself that you think specifically set you apart from your opponent.
Experience. 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 I can't tell you how kind of surprised I was when I got to City Council that the people who have been in the position really have not had the experience running a large organization, going through audits, running budgets, understanding human resources, understanding litigation, understanding the liability. All of these things are really important to decision making. They weigh how you come at an issue. I've been called in and asked to become a part of ad hoc groups in the City Council because I come with 20 years of growing an organization of 85 people, a budget of over $8 million each year that I raise. I have a lot of experience. I bring that experience. City staff say they see that experience when they work with me. That's what I bring.
Now, Mr. Evans.
Can I have the question again, please?
Name 3 things about yourself that you think specifically set you apart from your opponent.
Absolutely. So I'll pick up experience. I didn't wake up one day and say, I've worked in the nonprofit sector 20 years and That's a prerequisite for running for public office. I served here as an Economic Development Commissioner for the better part of a decade. I've also served as a Planning Commissioner. As I previously mentioned, I've served this county as a district representative. Number two is vision. I think what we lack in the city of Richmond is vision. And for us to become the city that we all want to see, you need somebody with some vision. Lastly, I would say ethics. And I think there are things that have happened during the course of Vice Mayor Robinson's term that may not have been illegal, but they have absolutely been unethical. And what standard do we hold our elected officials to? Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Evans now. You have 1 minute. The council has updated ordinances to strengthen its sanctuary city laws. Is the city doing enough to protect its vulnerable, undocumented population?
Absolutely. Of course, we live in the state of California. We're a sanctuary state. The city of Richmond has been a sanctuary city, let's say, better part of 2 decades. There have been recent efforts to, of course, reinforce protections around our immigrant and undocumented neighbors. I support all of that. I myself live in a mixed ethnic household. My wife is Mexican. Her parents immigrated here. I have 2 children who are Mexican and African American. When we talk about protections for this community, this is protections for my community. And can we do more? Absolutely yes. We see an assault on a number of civil rights from the federal government, and I believe just as much as Trump can wield and use government against people, we can use the weight of government for good. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson.
Yeah, so this is a topic that I absolutely agree with Mr. Evans. I think we're doing a lot. I think that we're, I was one of the people who co-sponsored the item to strengthen the sanctuary city ordinance. I was also one of the council members who brought forward the item to make available legal support, because I honestly believe in due process, that everyone in the United States deserves the protection of our Constitution. It doesn't matter your legal state, that is what due process is about. And I believe we have an obligation as human beings, as people who are good people, to take care of our neighbors and to do everything we can to do that. We would expect the same for us, for our group. We need to do it for others as well. So I am looking forward to continuing to do whatever we can to be the kind of city we can be proud of.
Okay, Ms. Robinson. This district has been impacted by a number of unhoused encampments, which many say often go hand in hand with illegal dumping and create a significant public blight problem. How would you grade the city's approach to solving these issues using a letter grade scale, with A being excellent and F being an utter failure?
So I feel like we have risen to the occasion. We have not listened to some of the critics that said, just leave it to the county, because we have seen that the county is not doing enough. We've risen to the occasion, we've put money towards it. Not only that, but we've gone after a number of grants to help us offer a lot of different solutions, and we've learned a lot. We have encampment abatement grants. We have a grant for the Home Keep program that's creating wraparound services for those who are, chronically unhoused. We have 3 different shelters. We have 2 different day centers. We're adding another day center. We have housing assistance to try to prevent people from becoming unhoused in the first place, because that's actually the easiest way to keep people off the street. We have a number of different things, but it's not enough. It's not enough because we're facing a statewide housing crisis. It's a regional crisis. We're doing what we can. We need to work more with the county, more collaboratively with the county, and I look forward to doing that.
Thank you. Mr. Evans.
So if I had to give the city a grade, I would give them a D. And I believe that the council lacks vision. A number of years ago, there was an opportunity to come up with a strategy to address homelessness. This council, I don't know if Vice Mayor Robinson was there at the time, instead of creating a safe sleeping village to allow individuals to sleep in their cars, they kind of just passed the buck, right? Nobody wanted it in their own backyard. When we talk about strategy, yes, the council has had a number of encampment resolution grants from the state of California. That has resulted in individuals being temporarily housed in our hotels in Hilltop for a number of years. There are a number of them that were successful in transitioning into permanent housing, but it's not enough. We do have shelter capacity. We do have an opportunity to partner with the Bay Area Rescue Mission, organizations like GRIP, to increase capacity, but right now we're not doing enough.
Thank you. This one will be our last question before getting into the audience Q&A. Mr. Evans, this district has several neighborhoods in need of major infrastructure improvements, but it has to compete with projects citywide. What do you think needs to happen to step up the process for getting more done quickly?
Well, I would say staff capacity. Our Public Works Department is burdened with a number of capital improvement projects. I want to say the list is over 100 projects, probably totaling maybe $1 billion worth of work. We do have a great Public Works Director, Daniel Chavarria, who I think is bringing experience and a vision to categorize, right, these projects. But living in District 3 in my entire life, I know that flooding along Cutting Boulevard is a major issue during the rainy season, as well as issues around our railroad crossings. I live a block away from the railroad crossing, and every morning when I'm taking my daughter to work, I'm usually getting stuck behind the train. So, you know, I think District 3 is made up of historically legacy African American communities, and sometimes those issues just go overlooked. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson.
So quickly, every night in Richmond, there's about 1,500 people who need a bed. We have 400 shelter beds. That's the problem we're facing on that topic. Moving forward, I have been on the, working very closely with Public Works and really understand their workload. Some of the first things we did was actually hire the engineers and other staff we need to move projects faster. We were chronically understaffed when I came in. We had one engineer, and so we needed to staff up. And then we needed to actually have systems so we understood what projects we had. Those people, Daniel, who took over Public Works, was left a complete and utter mess. There was no tracking of what the number of Public Works projects were. We have been going through the process of actually cleaning up that department so they can move efficiently and move projects faster. That's why you're starting to see 3 parks get finished, Veolia on its way out, and a bunch of other improvements because we've been working on it.
Thank you. Let's hear from our audience members. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Or if you completed a card, please raise the card and someone will come around to pick it up. In the interest of time, we ask you to please get to your question directly. I have some submitted cards here too. Thank you.
Anyone want a mic?
This question is, what is the plan for installing flock cameras throughout Richmond over the next year? Maybe, what which one?
They have them, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Someone want to clarify your question? Whoever submitted
Yes,
it?
I'll clarify. So the city of Richmond, or the city council just approved flock camera usage, correct?
So we've already had flock cameras. We have had 2 rounds of flock camera installation, and we had been using them up until November of last year, when it was realized that there was a trigger in the flock system that allowed jurisdictions outside of Richmond to access our data. We were explicitly told by flock that that was not going to be possible. In fact, it's against state law for that to have happened. And they violated our contract, and they violated what they told us. They lied to us. So at that moment, Chief Simmons took it upon himself, and I'm happy he did, and he turned off the cameras while we negotiated with Flock and came to see what else we could do. The cameras had been off until, I can't remember which month that was, until recently, when we came up with at least a short-term remedy, which was a renegotiated contract with Flock, so that they would no longer have that accessible, that there is a penalty of some thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, if they share any information they're not supposed to share. And then, and then we voted to turn the cameras back on. So the cameras are already in place. We do not have to install them. What we did was turn them back on while we look for a new vendor, because that vendor, in my opinion, is not trustworthy. So Chief Simmons has an RFP out. He's bringing forward new vendors, and we're going to be probably in June reviewing and potentially choosing a new vendor that we can trust.
While you're doing that review, do you intend to install additional cameras throughout the city to address recent thefts? We've seen an uptick in car thefts in our neighborhoods.
So my understanding from the chief is that we have cameras at all the major intersections, and that there isn't a need at this point for additional cameras. That's what he told me. So I follow what the chief says. I think he's the expert. And yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to respond. And, when this flock item came before the council a number of months ago, it was super controversial. And according to some proponents, Flock was actually surveilling our communities using this technology. That was not the case. The 3 features that the Flock cameras provide: one is license plate readers. Second is CCTV. And the third is drone assistance, right? So we talk about a department that is understaffed, shorthanded. Using this technology is an opportunity for us to leverage a department that's understaffed. And to speak specifically about if the cameras are active and back online, yes, they were voted to be turned back on. But I've learned that each camera has to be manually switched back active. And the last information that I got is that the department was shorthanded, and they were going through a process of turning those cameras back on manually. So even though they were voted to be turned back on, I believe many of them are still off today. Thank you.
Thank you both. This next question from the audience is, how important are the neighborhood councils in District 3? And how many have you attended in the last year or so? If none, why? Mr. Evans, let's start with you.
Thank you. So I believe the neighborhood councils are an integral part of our local democracy. I myself served as the vice president of the Coronado Neighborhood Council for a number of years under the leadership of Mr. Joe Fisher. I've had the pleasure of recently helping to reestablish the Park Plaza Neighborhood Council that had been inactive following a short illness, an illness from the previous president, Madison Law. I really believe that the neighborhood councils should act as an advisory capacity, very similar to our city commissions. And they're kind of hit or miss, just kind of depending on what neighborhoods you're in. Luckily for District 3, we have some legacy, very active legacy neighborhood councils, Park Plaza, Pullman, Coronado, Iron Triangle, as well as Atchison Village. Thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Robinson.
So District 3, in my opinion, has the strongest, most active neighborhood councils. And I am proud to say that from day one, for the last 3 years, I have attended every neighborhood council meeting I could possibly attend, meaning most neighborhood council meetings. And as a result, I have earned the support of at least two, and by support I mean endorsement, of at least two of the people who are serving as neighborhood council presidents, including Mr. Joe Fisher. So they are integral to the way that we get information, integral to the way that residents can play a part in decision making. I think they actually should be used more. Like every time something in planning comes that affects a district, it should come to the neighborhood council first so people know about it, so they can weigh in. That used to happen, it's not happening anymore. I think we should get more support. They don't have to do so much legwork, they're volunteers. There's so many ways that we could make this neighborhood council system stronger, and I think we should.
Thank you. This is another question from the audience. It is, what efforts do you make to connect and hear the people of District 3? And Ms. Robinson, we'll start with you.
So I'm out. I mean, like I said, I go to all the neighborhood council meetings, I go to events, people call me, people text me, people ask me all kinds of things. I mean, people in this room have texted me, they're smiling and nodding, because sometime over the last 3 years, there was something they needed, something that happened, something they wanted me to look into, something they needed me to help advocate for, and I've done it. I have had my cell phone out there, my personal cell phone, my city cell phone, my email address. I'm out, I'm available, and I'm responsive. And I'm proud of it. I feel like that is my job. That is why I'm in this position, is to serve. And I do every single thing I can to serve.
Thank you. Ms. Robbins.
Can I have the question again, please?
Yeah, it was, what efforts do you make to connect and hear the people of District 3?
Absolutely. So in my day job, I work in a nonprofit serving, located in District 3. So I have the opportunity to work with individuals coming home from incarceration, as well as community members looking for assistance with employment, housing, and other services. So I'm the boots on the ground type of candidate. We've been in the community the better part of this past year, meeting with neighbors, knocking doors. I think what I want to see from my elected official, man, is someone who's accessible, not only during election season when it's convenient, but year round. I think relationships have a lot to do with that. Establishing rapport with neighbors so they feel comfortable calling and participating at City Council. But I think, again, it has a lot to do with leadership and having leaders set the tone in terms of how we engage this community authentically, and I'm prepared to do that. Thank you.
Andy, we have an audience question here in the back.
Great.
The council and the West Contra Costa Unified School District Board is often strained and complex. Essentially, they are roommates sharing the same budget. What can either of you do to turn the council and board into allies rather than bureaucratic rivals?
I'll take that one first. And full disclosure, that is my mom, Donna Smith. So it wasn't a planning question. But Mom, the City Council and School District are two distinct bodies that actually don't overlap. They both have their own separate governing bodies. Of course, for the school is West Contra Costa Unified School District and Board, and of course with Richmond City Council governing matters that include Richmond. I'll say that there is a model in San Pablo where you do see a more formal partnership between the city of San Pablo and their San Pablo schools. And the city of San Pablo provides funding, I want to say from the casino that we lost, that allows them to provide additional community schools support staff. So, right, community engagement, parent engagement, those types of district level positions are being funded by the city of San Pablo. So we do need to improve our working relationship with the city, with West Contra Costa Unified School District, and I believe I'm the candidate to do that. I was able to help elect two current trustees, Cynthia Hernandez and Guadalupe Añana, last election cycle, so I have those relationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Robinson?
So, the West Contra Costa Unified School District and Richmond City Council are absolutely separate. It makes it really difficult to address the issues facing our kids. A lot of the things that we are doing to try to create pathways to employment, pathways to wealth building, depend on what happens in the West Contra Costa Unified School District. If the foundation isn't created there, a lot of the things that we hope to do won't happen. So it's essential that we're involved, that we're engaged. I was actually this morning at the State of the School, sitting, listening, having relationships with teachers. I actually saw my daughter's kindergarten teacher, and she remembered my daughter. And talking to people and thinking about what can we do as a city? Can we do community schools? Is another question with the Chevron settlement. Is that a way that we should be investing those funds? We have a really strong relationship and have been endorsed by United Teachers of Richmond. I think that supporting, deepening these relationships and exploring how the city can support our district is the way forward.
Thank you both. This is another question submitted from the audience, and it is a clarifying question from Ms. Robinson. It says, in addition to investing the $550 million, which is sound long-term planning, they say, what priorities do you have for using the money to address harm that Chevron has caused and environmental issues?
Yeah, so I actually think that there's a lot of things we can do. I think that we need to think about our clinics and our health system. We're about to go through a really terrible crisis with the withdrawal of millions of dollars from our county health system. That's going to crush us. We need to explore other ways that we can create a kind of redundant system that's not dependent upon only the county source. I think that there's a number of different things we can do that are smaller too, helping to outfit different people's houses with air filters, helping to create a better weather package around people's houses so that stuff doesn't get in. We can keep moving. We have a lot of great climate action plan items that have been moving forward, helping people solarize for free, helping people do other things to reduce pollution. I think we need to really, really think about transportation is another huge source of pollution in our community is the transportation network, and with the decline of public transportation, that air quality is going to get worse as more and more people drive their cars. I think that we should be using a good portion of the money on those things in particular, as well as addressing our deferred maintenance.
Thank you. I think
We have an audience question here. Yep.
Hello, my name is Sean. I want to ask a question. I live in the Coronado neighborhood, and I notice a lot of illegal restaurants in the neighborhood, particularly from houses down Marina Way. I have a neighbor that is running an illegal restaurant, and I just want to know what your thoughts are, because I've contacted the city government about this, and I contacted the county health board, and I just want to know what your thoughts are as far as either creating a pathway for them to, obtain some kind of permit or actually enforcing the law.
So I can start. So a couple of things. One, we have to be sure that these places are actually illegal. State law has changed, and there's a cottage food law that makes it legal for people to sell food out of their houses without meeting all of the same requirements that a restaurant would have. So I had some questions about a restaurant that opened up on my block, and I called, code enforcement, and they dropped by, and they're actually totally legal. They're completely above board. They have everything they need. And so I think that some of the things that we may think are the things that we want for our community in this day and age are being superseded by state law. It's happening in housing as well. And they're dictating to local municipalities like our own what we can and can't do. So mobile vendors, people having things in restaurants, all those things. In some ways, I think some of these things are, add flavor to our community, right? I think that it would be great if these kinds of things that made it more accessible for people to start their own businesses could have been something that other populations could have taken advantage of. And it's in some ways too bad that they changed so late, and they could have helped people build wealth.
And I'll just piggyback on Vice Mayor Robinson's comment that yes, state law does allow for individuals to prepare food out of their homes. I would say that recently, comparable issue that came before the City Council was with legal street vendors, primarily selling and operating food outside of restaurants along 23rd Street. And the city's response, which I think was a good one, was to create the downtown lot that allowed for these street vendors to have a designated area to be able to sell their goods, as well as the city assisting with licensing and permitting to allow these businesses to operate legally. I think we could go further and maybe transition the lot into maybe indoors, maybe into a brick and mortar opportunity to actually, that would allow these street vendors or former street vendors to have an opportunity to maybe lease space temporarily, or establish a food hall, which was something that was being discussed maybe about a decade ago here in Richmond. So those are just some, some thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another audience question.
Thank you. My name is Michael Glickson. I'd like to know how both of you feel about using some Chevron money to beef up the staffing of the housing division of our community development department. Richmond, unlike many other cities, would welcome affordable housing. We have land, but we don't have the capacity in our staffing, as in many other departments. So this is something that's very near and dear to my heart. So I would like to know if you think beefing up our housing division would be a good idea. Thank you.
So not only do I think that we should beef up the housing division, but I think we should separate it from community development. I think Lena Velasquez, who's our community development director, is amazing, but she's holding housing, code enforcement, planning, building permits. She's holding so much that it's, bending to breaking, and many of the reasons why things move so slow is it's the same team dealing with tobacco, dealing with, alcohol enforcement, dealing with code enforcement at people's houses, as they are dealing with planning, dealing with building code, same team. We need to create our own, we need to create an independent housing department that has all the proper staff and to move projects faster. The city of Richmond owns a lot of vacant lots. We could do a lot of infill housing development. We have partners that are coming to the table with our unions who want to help us make this vision happen. I think we need some uncommon friends to make some real magic in Richmond, and I'd love to be a part of it.
So thanks for the question, Mike. So, surprisingly, I agree with Vice Mayor Robinson that maybe separating our housing division out of community development would be a start. We can talk about our Richmond Housing Authority that was recently transitioned to the county just due to historical insolvency and not being able to operate at a high or maintain our housing authority properties, which include Eastern Village, Nevin Plaza, which was recently redone, and I think one additional asset. So the cities and local municipalities got out of the housing development business after redevelopment, right? So in so many ways, the building of all types of housing is really dictated by the market, right? The city of Richmond does have a number of city-owned lots that can be leveraged towards affordable housing or housing at all different levels, but we need to create additional incentives, Mike, and right now the city does not really have incentives that attracts housing development here. So, thank you.
Thank you. Did we have another audience question? Yeah. Thank you, audience.
Yes, I just wanted, I've learned so much. I've been to a couple of these forums, and I just, I've been devastated about how uninformed people are in our community about what's really progressed, and where it is that we are in a better state than we were at one point. And I just like there to be a little bit of a feedback about what has happened with the city financially, because I remember when we were financially in big trouble, and then I remember that it looks like things seem to be progressing. So can we get some, truth about what's going on with the city of Richmond financially?
The truth is, from my perspective, 3 years of budget surpluses. Those budget surpluses, and they're tuned to $6 to $12 million each year, then get put back into special projects, the kinds of projects we've been asking about. This year, $6.4 million were put back into traffic safety projects to improve traffic safety on the roads. In previous years, we made park improvements, Shields Reed Park, Borman Park, other things. We've done a number of different things. We also we're off of the audit list. We're on the state audit list for a long time. We're off the audit list. We have record reserves. We've hired 17% more staff. When I came in, we had so few staff in every department, 17% more staff hired over this last 3 years. We are in the strongest financial position of any East Bay city. We are offering people wage increases where other cities are considering layoffs. We're doing excellent, thanks to our city manager, thanks to our working with our staff and the city council. We're in an excellent position, especially considering our times.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Yeah, I would agree that the city of Richmond is in a better financial place than it has been historically. And as Vice Mayor Robinson has mentioned, that it's resulted in budget surpluses the past couple of years. I beg the question that why aren't we seeing an improvement in quality of life and or services in our community? And I know that the departments are continue to be understaffed. And a common way that our city manager has balanced our budget is by allowing senior employees to retire and then not filling those positions. So instead of hiring an equivalent to a senior manager, they're hiring 2 entry-level employees and then spreading the work of that executive out across an already overstretched department. And I find it just surprising again that SEIU, the biggest benefactor of our progressive council majority, they represent the employees, but they're not actually getting additional positions. So, confusing.
Thank you both. We have an audience question.
Yes, good evening. When one of you are elected, how would you all come together on the city council for the betterment of entire people instead of districts? I hear everyone talk about parks, the recreation, the unhoused, all that is great. I'm a resident of Richmond, 333 Florida Avenue, 325 Florida Avenue right now. So let's talk about the parks and the safety for these kids who's growing up, because all of us are getting old. So we're going to need these kids to help govern the community. How would you all come together for the betterment of the community and the kids as a collective?
Yeah, of course. So I would say that one, you have to be willing to work across the aisle. And very much like national politics, with the left and right, Republican, Democrat here, right, of course, is a nonpartisan race, but our city council is very divided. If you look at the council, the right side of the dais, represents a progressive majority. The left side, a more moderate, middle of the road, I think, ideology of council members. And historically, these sides have not worked together. Currently, these sides are not working together. I don't believe that we can get accomplished what we need to get accomplished with the progressive majority. I think we need to diversify the thought of leadership on our city council. I think that's where we start. After that, I think people have to be willing to work with people they necessarily don't like. And I think what we have right now is people unwilling to speak with individuals who they feel like are their political opponents.
So I love this question because it gives me an opportunity to speak for myself instead of having other people characterize who I am and what I do and what I have done. So over the last 3 years, I have brought forward items with every single city council member. If you go back in the record of the agenda, you would see that I co-sponsored things with Caesar, with Parchester Village, making sure that they get their flooding addressed, the electric fleets, the tree wells, with Sohela, with Eduardo, with a number of different people, because I work with people who want to make good things happen in this city. I rise to the occasion, not just in my district, which I am here in my district. I'm at the neighborhood council meetings. I am on the floor. I'm answering calls. And when Parchester Village calls me up and says they have a problem, I say that is a problem for me too in the city, because I'm not only about my district, I'm about Richmond. That's the way I work. That's the way I have worked. That's the way I will work. I want to make change, and anybody who wants to make that good change can work with me. I'm willing, I'm able, I'm ready.
Thank you both. That is all the time we have for questions, but we will give each candidate 1 minute for closing remarks, and we will do this in reverse order from how we started. So, Ms. Robinson, we'll start with you.
So thank you so much for the opportunity tonight to speak for myself. I'm a doer, even in my nonprofit role, I got in there, I built a farm, I built parks, I made 84 jobs for young people, 70% live in Richmond. I do what I say I'm going to do. I show up consistently. I don't care if you like me or if you don't like me, because I'm in it for the things that we need to do together. When you vote for me, you vote for somebody who has experience moving massive capital projects, who has the faith and the trust and the belief of our city staff. 3 of the unions are endorsing me. And that is because they have worked with me over the last 3 years. I was just talking to people last night from Public Works, and they were like, we love working with you. If you vote for me, this is what you're getting. Somebody who's willing, somebody who's capable, and somebody who's ready to keep making good things happen in Richmond.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys again for joining us this evening. My name is Brandon Evans. I'm running to represent you on Richmond City Council. What sets me apart is that I'm an independent candidate. I'm not being supported by any establishment organizations. Happy to be endorsed by the West Contra Costa Democratic Club, as well as IBEW electricians, in addition to Black Women Organizing for Political Action. Also proud to be endorsed by a majority of our school board, as well as Dr. Jamila Brown from the Richmond City Council. Again, I'm here as an independent candidate. I'm not being bankrolled or supported by the establishment that is public sector unions here. I think they have been wielding extremely too much power, and it's time for change. If you feel like Richmond is on the right track, support my opponent. If you don't, and if you want to see a Richmond that serves everyone, regardless of political ideology, who's popular, who my friends are on council, then support me. June 2nd. Thank you.
All we have time for. I'd like to thank the candidates for joining us this evening and all of you for coming out and asking great questions. Don't forget to vote on or before June 2nd, and we hope you have a great night. You all.
Thank you.